incredibly attractive people have certain qualities that are different than the people that you kind of just look at and forget their faces a minute later. And it's not necessarily looks. And I know that your thought right now is like, oh, this is just what she thinks that I want to hear, so this is why she's saying it. Now, I will say you have to take care of yourself, because if you just look well put together, meaning that you take care of yourself and you work out here and there, you take care of your skin, you eat mostly healthy, you will most likely, when you wash your hair regularly, most likely you already meet the criteria. What really makes somebody magnetic is when they are somebody that people like to be around. So if you think about it, who would you like to be around? Who would you like to spend your time with? You would want to be with people that are inspiring, that have a certain lightness to them, and that surprise you in certain ways. So if we look into those three things, we can really extract a lot here. So first of all, nice to be around, inspiring. What does that mean? This person is reflected. This person has interesting things to say. This person is not afraid to be themselves and not afraid to do crazy things or to say crazy things. But if that's not your nature, then you don't have to do that. If your nature is a calm, reflected person, then be a calm, reflected person. People feel most comfortable around other people that are their authentic selves. Authenticity is one of the key points, because at the end of the day, we are definitely more intuitive than we give ourselves credit for. And even the people that don't call themselves spiritual, you really, at the end of the day, feel everything, because everything is energy. So if you're your authentic self, whatever that will look like, you will eventually have the right people around you, because you will repel the people that are not in tune with your authentic selves, and you will invite people that are in tune with your authentic self. And those are the people that you want to have around anyways, right? Because why would you want to be with somebody that you can't be your authentic self with? So, okay, you need to be your authentic self, because that is inspiring. Now, what else? You want this person to have a certain sense of lightness. What gives you lightness in life? Really, if you think about it, it's trust. People that are deeply trusting, and I'm not talking about naive, trusting, are very, very pleasant people to be around. Because not only do they trust other people, they trust you, which is a nice thing. If somebody's distrusting of you from the start without you even having done something, you already feel accused. You're like, why? It's uncomfortable. But this goes way deeper. People that are trusting, they have this feeling of that they are connected to a higher power almost. Because if you trust in life force or God or the universe, whatever you want to call it. Because you cannot walk through life lightly, with an open heart, and joyfully, unless you trust that after the dark days, you're going to be fine. That actually, overall, this is a good place to be in. That overall, life is great. And sometimes it isn't. But those people that are pleasant to be around, even in their darkest days, they understand that this too shall pass. And they carry this in that moment with them. And sometimes if you're going through a rough time right now, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up. But I would still recommend you to not isolate yourself, but to seek out other people, because that helps you so much, like with your own happiness. I also unfortunately tend to isolate when I don't feel good, but every time I do go out with my friends, and I feel so much better afterwards. And when you do interact with people, you want to be your authentic self, but you also don't want to constantly focus on the negative. Like if somebody asks you, hey, how are you doing, and you're not doing good, just tell them, honestly, dude, not so great. And then they're gonna ask, oh, why? And then you're gonna tell, like, and then you tell them, like, you don't, I said authenticity, just tell them, but then let's move on and let's have fun. And now, as a third thing, I mentioned people that surprise you in a certain sense. And when you look at it, a lot of famous people, for instance, Sabrina Carpenter or Marilyn Monroe, and those are the two that come to my mind right now, they actually have very contradicting personalities and vibes. For instance, Sabrina Carpenter, she's like this tiny doll. She looks so like literally like you just took her out of like a Barbie box, and she looks very sweet. She has this angel face, right? Angel face. She like has this angel face, and she sings about incredibly inappropriate stuff, right? And that is interesting. That's a contradiction. Same with Marilyn Monroe. She could be very playful and girly, and she would talk like this and be all sweet. And then the next moment, she would be very sensual. Her voice would be lower, and she would hold your gaze. And she just knows how to play. She knows how to pull people into her. Only authenticity can open the door to even be like this. If you are uncomfortable with parts of you, you are not going to be able to surprise people in like a positive way. If you hold shame or there are personality traits that you don't like about yourself, for instance, I used to be incredibly shy. I hated being shy. I was like, why do I have to be like this? Like it actually closed so many doors on me in life because I was shy or I felt awkward so many times. And at the end of the day, I came to accept it. I was like, you know what, that's just how I am. And funnily enough, that's when I started being more extroverted. And when I told people I'm actually kind of shy, they were like, yeah, you are shy? Yes, I am, sir. Very much so. I just know how to fake it sometimes, I guess. But when I was extrovert, it didn't even feel like faking it. I just came to acceptance that sometimes I'm not social. But then I decided to surround myself with people that I felt comfortable with, and then the side came out anyways. So in a sense, I can say that I achieved a certain sense of magnetism because the people in my life that I have around me, they really like to be around me, and I get a lot of compliments and praise, and it's a very nice place to be in because I feel very loved and held by the people around me. And if you do not feel loved and held by the people around you, you are going to have a very hard time being magnetic. So don't try to impress the wrong people. Your tribe is somewhere out there. And for me, it also took some time and some soul searching and being really real with myself. But I know that you can do it. One more hack I want to share with you, and then let's call it a day. If you want to be magnetic, really magnetic, even in the rooms where you don't feel so comfortable, the trust that I mentioned before is everything. Because if you have trust that you are a child of God, and if you're not religious, that's totally fine. You can say like a beautiful soul in this universe, whatever your vocabulary is. I mean the same thing, and you know what I mean. When you feel your own preciousness just naturally, and you walk into rooms where you don't feel so comfortable, you will eventually still radiate comfort because you know in yourself, you're resting in yourself, and you are giving yourself the confirmation and the validation that you may be seeking from other people. When you give yourself that, you are in a much, much better position to not only be magnetic and be perceived as beautiful, you're also going to be a happier person. Because if you seek validation, and I mean, I say this with all the love in the world, like we all at some point were a slave to that, really, to seek external validation from other people. it's going to be very hard to A, find the right people, B, you're not going to be your authentic selves. You're constantly bending and twisting yourself in order to fit in rooms where you just don't belong. It's just not a good place to be in. So let's call it a day. I hope that this helped you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.